What up, everybody? It's your man Danell, aka Small Guy Promotions, aka the Omaha Fatty, coming with another podcast episode of What's Up Omaha. What's up, Omaha? Yes, it is another week. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a great morning. You know, I'm covering something big today, guys. I'm covering something big today. As I've been talking about recently, it's wrestling season. I wanted to make sure to, let you guys see Monarchs, what I'm saying? Monarch Wrestling. That's what's going on. It's been a good season, an entertaining season to watch the young ladies of Papillion Vista High School. This weekend was the Metro Conference, and as the girls just became NSAA sanctioned prior to the season beginning this year, my daughter's team, her school, they won first place. It was a day to be remembered. History was made. The first ever Metro Conference women's first place finishers. That's huge. A big step for the young ladies, man, who now are wrestling, and then also for the ones coming up in the future. It's a great step, man. It's a really exciting time. And, I probably was going to talk about something else for the podcast, but, I just have this feeling that young ladies wrestling doesn't get the pump, the push that boys wrestling does. So I'm not really going to talk about the boys wrestling because they get enough pub. I'm going to keep it on the young ladies wrestling. And before I dive into all this, it's not just one person or one group that this appears to be coming from. Let me tell you a story about at the end of the tournament. There was a news journalist who had come towards the end of the tournament, and championship rounds were going on, and there were girls on mat 1 and boys on mat 2. The gentleman came in. There were still some girls matches going on mat 1. I thought that he had actually turned the camera there. I don't know if he did or didn't, but I know most of the footage was of the boys. And my wife had actually made a comment earlier in the day before any news media had come and said she was in the restroom and she heard some other ladies talking about how whenever there's boys and girls wrestling at the same time, the cameras, like whoever the event camera or whatever, always seems to be pointed at the boys' mats. It doesn't matter which girls' match is going on. So, I was like, I hadn't noticed. So I start watching, and I don't know what affiliation this cameraman had that was there yesterday. But after that point, when I watched, he was always, and I'm not talking about the photojournalist again, or the video journalist for the news. This is before that person came, but the person that was there in the center of the mat, taking photos, it seemed to always be of the boys. I can't say 100% that that's what it was, but every time that I saw him, that's where he was focused. So, it's the lady that I talked about last week who said, why would a mom or dad let their daughter wrestle? I feel like there's still some kind of old mentality there. Women's wrestling, it's been around, but it's still relatively new as far as, wrestling goes. It's usually predominantly male driven, male focused. And though there is women's or girls wrestling now, that still seems to be the case. But I will tell you this, that these girls are wonderful. Each and every one of them who has stepped on the mat is wonderful. But yeah, getting back to the media presence of it, Um, in which I said something to my wife and brother-in-law about the journalist showing up late, but I don't know what else he had going on. There might have been emergency stuff going on. It was a snowy day. Um, and then a female photojournalist, or I keep saying photojournalist, journalist showed up even after the guy showed up. And I'm not going to say the stations or anything like that because I mean, whatever. But who knows what was going on. Now, again, I mentioned to my wife and my brother-in-law that it was crazy that they showed up late, but I wasn't mad. It was just something that I noticed. And I was like, man, all the girls' matches are pretty much done. There were still a few left again. Um, but there was some very good matches going on that, could have been captured on some level. Um, but what I didn't approve of, uh, so I had actually gone over to the journalists, the male journalists, as the girls were getting their awards. The event had brought together all the number one women or girls from the event and had them in front of the podium. So I didn't know if the journalist knew. So I just went over to him. I said, "Hey, excuse me, I don't know if you're still filming, but these girls right here are all the winners, all the number one competitors from today, and this is the first the first time of this happening." And I think he may have taken photo or video or something. I don't know, but I wasn't going over him telling him what to do or whatever. I was just letting him know in case he was able to still get footage. But there was a lady that came down out of the stands, and I can't remember what school we thought that she was from, maybe Millard South. But she's giving this guy the business. Like I'm not directly by the guy. I'm a you know I'm in earshot, in range of the conversation, so I can hear some of it. And I don't know, man. She's just going in on this guy, which I thought was totally uncalled for. And she's saying to him like, "Oh, now you show up, and there was girls matches going on, and you should have got footage of them, and blah 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 blah." And he said something like, "I wasn't here when I got here. There were only boys matches going on." And she counters it. She's like, "No, there was girls matches going on, mat 1 and boys on mat 2, and you could have blah 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 blah." And the guy's like, "I wasn't here when the girls matches were going. When I got here, there were boys matches going on mat 1 also." Which, after I recalled it, the how it played out in my head, I was like, that wasn't necessarily accurate, because I had come from the restroom, I think, or something, and I had saw the guy in between mat 1 and mat 2, and I sent a text to my wife because she was taking photos, and I said, "Hey, channel 6 is here now." Or actually, no, she came over to me, I think, maybe, I don't know. I can't remember how. There's so much going on. Uh, but no, that was right. I sent a text and I said, "Channel blah 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 is here now. Boo." And she said, "Well, maybe they'll get footage of Kristen's match." And that was the next matchup. That was I think the 165-pound matches that were coming up. And it was so he was there. There were matches going on. And again, I thought that I saw him turn the camera that way, so I thought he got footage of it. I don't know. Regardless, of if he did or didn't, the lady who went up to him doesn't pay his bills, and she's not his boss, from what I understand. But she felt the right to yell at him and tell him it was the worst excuse for journalism that she has heard or seen or something like that. And I'm just thinking, why is this lady so upset? Like, yes, I am of the same mind. Like, I feel like we have some level of agreement, but the way that our approach was different. Like, I would never go up to someone and berate them and whatnot. Like, I don't understand why people think that's okay to do. And I kind of was like, should I say something? Like, but he's a grown man, like he can, take care of it himself. And it wasn't like he was like backing down or anything. But I was just, and I'm not trying to get in a confrontation and like that, if no physical altercation is going on, it's not really my place to like, in that situation, in that specific situation, I'm saying, I don't feel like it's necessarily on me to step in. But I just thought it was weird and like, who does that? Like, what entitled person just goes up? I mean, I guess people would say that maybe she was a Karen. I don't know. But I just thought it was crazy that she walked up to dude and like just went off on him. Like she could have expressed herself in a respectful manner. Like last week I said, respect. Like it's all about being respectful. Like you should never just walk up to someone and disrespect them, man. Like, and it's one thing if she would have just like stated her point, but telling him that it was the worst excuse for journalism, and like she acted like he owed her something. And again, I agree on the level of wanting more publicity for the young ladies who are out there putting it on the line, but I don't believe that that was the right way to go after it. And I just went back over to him later. I said, hey man, I don't know what's going on with that lady, but I will say this, I do wish that you would have got more, of the footage, but I'm happy that you're here now and doing what you're doing now. Any publicity that we're able to get for this sport, this lady sport, is good. And he was doing like he was covering it for wrestler of the week and whatnot. So he was picking one of the girls was going to be the wrestler of the week and just whatever else. So it's not like he wasn't out there covering any of the girls that were out there. He was out there, and I don't know, man. Again, like who knows what his situation was for getting there that day. I didn't ask him about it. It's not any of my business. I don't pay him. I don't feel like I have the right to berate him for not being there earlier because, it's not like, I mean, it's news, man. There might be other stories going on. That's the bottom line. Like, I put on plenty of events and I put out press releases to the media and whatnot, and they can't always make it. Sometimes they pop up unannounced and you don't even know they're coming out. It depends on what stories are going on. And again, it was snowy yesterday, so who knows what was going on with that. He might have had some stories to cover for the snow. I don't know if the lady went off on the lady journalist as well. I didn't see her as long as I saw the guy out there, but I don't know. Enough about that, man. But yeah, I do feel like there's still like a lot of focus on the fellas, and not saying that they don't deserve it, but I'm just saying that the girls are also out there too. They deserve to be seen as well. They deserve to be applauded for their commitment and their drive and their performance and whatever else. And I still don't like that it's boys and girls competing at the same time. I feel like the girls should have that's another thing. Like there's so many boys and the girls aren't to the level of participation as the boys have yet. So these events are like dominated by males, and like you have to sit around for hours. Like for being a girl mom, a girl wrestler or mom, dad, being a a girl dad who wrestles, uh, it's like I don't know. My daughter, she only had 8 girls in her bracket, and she ended up having a forfeit. Her first opponent didn't even show up. Don't know why, but the girl wasn't there. Um, and then she only had 2 other matches, and one of the other matches was against a teammate. So she had a forfeit. She got her second match in uh, pretty quickly, and then these girls sat around and waited for, I don't even know. I talked to my daughter and she goes, I have over 100 more matches before my next match, because she had gotten into the first place bracket. Over 100 more matches. These girls laid out a blanket and they were like taking naps and stuff, laying on the bleachers. Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, they got to sit around and wait. And it's like, I f- I know in tournaments you have to wait sometimes, but the fact that these kids have to wait so long, like they get warmed up, they go out, they perform, and then they have to sit around and get all cold and then have to go out and perform again. And it's like, that's a lot. And they were up at 6 a.m. Well, they were at the school at 6:15 a.m. And this went to like 5 p.m. It's like a whole day thing. Uh, it's just crazy to me that this is how it's set up. And maybe because it's early, you know, maybe next year they'll have more girl participants, and then they'll just be forced to have two separate events, one for the boys, one for the girls, because it just feels like a shady deal. And then you have to spend so many hours there sitting, like as someone in the audience, that is not a good experience, man. Just sitting around and waiting hours to see, you know, your kid participate in three matches, or in yesterday two. But that's just the lack of participation right now. So hopefully that continues to grow. It's been growing every year for the sport, and you know, just I hope they keep on the uptick, and girls continue to participate, and those old ways of thinking go out the window, and it's a new day, y'all. It's a new day. So yeah, man, that's just what it is. You know, you just feel like, I don't know, you get the short end of the stick in some instances. You know, my daughter was disappointed that she didn't get her actual bracket. Uh, and I guess that was because the bracket was changing for the girls, and they didn't know how many girls they were going to have for the brackets. So only one girl received her actual bracket. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the wrestling tournaments, if you get first place, like the big tournaments, you get a bracket, like the bracket that they have all the, you know, names written on, and all the winners. You get that bracket if you win. But this is like two tournaments in a row that I'm like, dude, why? You know, and I know it's not enough. The coordination of this is not small. And I know they were busy, so I understand why they didn't have a bracket ready, because the bracket was different than the boys bracket, because they didn't have 16 competitors. So it makes sense, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating when your kid goes out there and does what they're supposed to do, and they win, and they don't get that satisfaction. So you know, that goes back to the last tournament that they had, the girls, and it was like the JV boys, and the girls won first place in that tournament. And I said it before in the podcast, they didn't have the award ceremony like they usually do at the end of the tournaments. They didn't get to stand up on the podium. They didn't get their medals. They didn't get their brackets, none of this stuff. And it's just like, bro, come on. Like, and not only that, this whatever it was at Millard West. That was like a couple of weeks ago now. And they said that the awards were going to be mailed out, and the girls still have not received their stuff. I don't know about the boys, but the girls still have not received their awards. And for my daughter, that was her first placing in a tournament. So it's just kind of like, man, again, it doesn't change the fact that she won and that she knows that she won. But man, what is the point of having an awards ceremony if you don't get the awards? Like, come on, bro, step up your game. Anyway, I don't want any of that to take away how great I believe these girls are, and how proud I am of not only my daughter, but these other girls who go out there and compete as well. So often I find myself sitting in the stands rooting for girls, and girls that I don't know, kids in general that I don't know, the boys too. But you know, I'm like, oh yeah, do this. Oh, come on, come on. It is entertaining. But it just does get tiring after sitting and watching it for 10 hours. But yeah, man, it just it's not really 10 hours, but it feels like it. When it's supposed to start at 9 o'clock, I think it started just after 9:30. And then I don't know what time they got done wrestling, but yeah, we were there at least until 5. So my daughter was like, it didn't seem like a long day, as long of a day. I said, um, this is longer than one of my work days, and I'm not getting paid for this. So this is quite long for for an event, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll get used to it if it continues to go this way. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I can't see how that'll ever be yeah, not a pain point for me because you don't get time back. That's a lot of time spent during the wrestling season. And shoot, man, it's crazy. That's not I so this is how I balance things out for myself. Um, that's not even I mean anything compared to what these coaches and these volunteers are committing to the sport and to these kids out there. So, you know, it's I'll get over it, but I never want it to seem like I'm not grateful to the coaches or the staff that help all this stuff happen because I am. It's just a huge time commitment though. But yes, again, shout out to all the girls, man. It was great to see um, a lot of good stuff happening out there on the mats, and you can see these girls improving. And then you like the great thing about seeing these girls wrestle is whether they win or lose, they're going to see some of these girls again. And sometimes they've gone against girls multiple times. Um, so it's just great that they have a chance. If they lost before, they can, make it even and tie it up, or maybe somebody's just got their number and it's like something that motivates them to keep working hard and like, hey, I got to get this kid the next time. They beat me 2 times, 3 times. Next time I see that kid, I'm going to win. Um, there's just it's cool, man. It's cool. And to be there to witness the first ever ladies Metro conference winners, it's something special. And of course, I'm biased because my daughter is on the team, and I would think even if it wasn't the first, it would be great. Like it warms my heart to know that she's found something that she really loves and enjoys and is passionate about, and hopefully will continue to do it for years to come. And if she decides to go to college, maybe she can do it in college. Um, she's made friends through this, not only on her team, but with technology in these days when these kids go and compete against one another, they're sharing snaps and whatever and staying in touch after they compete. And I feel like they really are building the community of wrestling. So it's great, man. It's great. And to all you naysayers out there who say stuff like, what parent would let their daughter wrestle? I don't usually, tell people, bad stuff normally, but well, you know what? I'm not going to say what I think. I'm just going to say you should probably open your mind a little bit to something new. Again, it's like I said last week, it's not the 50s anymore. It's 2022. It's a new day, a new year. It's different. It's not like it was when you grew up. It's not like it was when I grew up. Times are changing, and I think it's a good thing. Why wouldn't these girls be able to go out? They can do whatever else. And we talk about equality all the time and, people's rights. Why wouldn't these girls be able to go out and have a fair shake and get their opportunity to compete? Girls are playing football, and they're playing with boys. Girls, there are women's teams nowadays for football. So why wouldn't they be able to go out and compete amongst their peers in wrestling? I see no reason for that to be a thing, and I'm glad that they're breaking down walls and barriers in the sport. Again, even if they're not going to get the shine that I believe they deserve, I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna do my part and what I can. I'm gonna use my platform. So whenever, as a proud dad And just as someone who is witnessing something great, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna do my part, and hope to, catch a couple of additional eyes. My phone went off a little bit ago, and let me see. It was a text from my neighbor. I saw it, and let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. It says something about wrestling. Just finished reading the news, and I want to pass a huge congratulations to Jamila. History was made, and I couldn't be happier as a wrestler myself. I am sure in years, the gravity of what she accomplished will set in. What an amazing young woman you and Mitzi are raising. Remind her she is not done yet. Go get more gold. So shout out to my neighbor Ben. And of course, that wasn't planned. I was just sitting down the podcast and the text came up, and I was able to see it because my phone is connected to my laptop. So I saw some of it. I saw the preview, and yeah, man, that's pretty dope. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I read this or forward it to my wife and daughter so they see it. But yeah, that is the way to think. That is the way to be. Girls wrestling doesn't take away from anything else. It's like the, you know, excuse me here, but it's like the BLM, ALM stuff. Girls being able to get out there and wrestle doesn't take away from the boys being able to wrestle. They're just saying that, or I'm just saying that girls can wrestle too. Girls should be able to wrestle too. That's it. I'm not saying it's more important than the boys. I'm just saying girls should be able to wrestle too. And these girls are good. If you don't believe me, come out to an event and support and check out these young kids. Regardless of what you think, these kids are out there, boys and girls. They're out there competing, and it's not easy to do. Everybody can't do it. They put in tons of hours of work. It's not just physical, it's a mental battle as well, because sometimes you don't feel like doing something, but you got to do it. There's so many obstacles that they overcome when they compete. And I will say it again, wrestlers are some of the toughest people that you will meet. So tough, man, so tough. So these young ladies are growing up and being strong. Why wouldn't you want a woman to be strong, to grow up and be strong? If you've got a daughter at home, why wouldn't you want that daughter to grow up and be strong and to tackle life and to do what they want to do? Stop being one of those people that tell people that they can't do stuff. Why would you tell someone they can't do something? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean they can't. And if you do tell someone that, I hope they prove you wrong. I hope they do, because you shouldn't be telling people that they can't do something. You should be building people up, lifting people up. Stop being a hater. Stop being a hater. Why are you hating? It doesn't take away from your life. Why? I never understand it. People are often so concerned about what someone else is doing, and instead of focusing on positive things, they choose to focus on those negative things and try to tell them that they can't do something. I don't get it. I'm supporting people. Like, go out and kill it. Whatever you want to do, man, go out and kill it. Ladies, all the schools that competed, man, I know you guys have some beasts out there, ladies. I've seen them, and I'm like, yo, these young ladies are going to be a problem. Shout out to you and all the parents who, support you and push you to be great, and applaud you when you are great, and even applaud you when maybe you had an off day. They need to cheer you on to say, hey, you know what? Every day is not going to be perfect. But if you always go out there and you give it your best, like, this is why I tell my daughter, yes, winning is great. Everyone would love to win. But if you don't win, I'm still proud of you. Just go out there, do your best. And it's also what you do in between competing. It's not just about what you do when you go out there and compete. You have to prepare yourself. And if you're out there preparing yourself at these practices, you're giving it your all, like, you're helping other people get better, you're being a team player. That's what it's about, man. Again, it's community. These teammates are in this together. It's an individual sport because you step out there on the mat by yourself, but the team aspect comes in when you're practicing every day together, building bonds, and you're helping one another get better. You're pushing each other to be better. Oh, such and such is better than me. Well, you get out there every day and you practice and you just work hard. And I love it. I love to see it, man. It's a great thing. I just hope that it explodes and people appreciate it and get a chance to watch it. And yeah, some people might say it's high school sports. Yeah, it is, but that's our kids out there, right? So I don't watch I don't watch any other high school sports either. So I get it. But when you go out there and you see these kids, uh, just oh man, there's so much talent out here. I wish that you guys could see it to appreciate it. There's so much talent, so much talent, and it's just they deserve recognition because again, everyone can't do it. And maybe I will. I've never understood as an adult who didn't have a kid competing, going to watch a sport, but I think I'm starting to realize what it is now. I don't know that I'll be going to attend a bunch of sports because I just don't want to be around a ton of people. But I can kind of see it, when you get to see some of the things that people do out there when they're competing. It's cool. We like to watch college and professionals, but these kids start somewhere, and there's so much more joy sometimes when you watch the youth perform. So I don't know, man. I thought I was gonna go short, but I got on and I was going, man, and I was going. I can talk. That's one thing I can do, y'all. I can definitely talk. But I'm gonna cut it there. I again just want to give a shout out to all the ladies that competed yesterday. Whether you won or lost, if you went out there and you competed and you gave it your all, shout out to you. And I do want to send a special just thought out to one of my daughter's teammates, Jordan, who got hurt out there on the mat yesterday. I hope you heal up very quickly. And, the road to recovery may be a little tough, but, if you can't make it back this year, there's always next year. And I guess she was already asking about, if she could wrestle in the next duel or whatever. So shout out to her for being a tough competitor. Things happen sometimes, and it was scary out there. You see a kid laying out there on the mat, and all the medical people coming out to check on the kid and whatnot. But it's great to see that she's already thinking ahead. But I'm sure it'll be a whole process. And I just want to say again, thoughts are with you, Jordan. I hope you heal up soon. And come back better and stronger than ever. Yeah, thank you to all the coaches, man. Jamie, I know if you happen to see this or hear this, Jamie, I know that you say you don't need a thank you because you get joy out of it. But Jamie Brown, thank you so much. Scott Scurry, thank you so much. Guys, I had Curry on last year for the podcast, and we talked about being the first year of women's wrestling at Papillion La Vista. Make sure you check that out if you didn't see that last year. I'll make sure to link it up here. Yeah, man, that's what it is. Shout out to all the ladies yesterday, man. You guys have a wonderful day. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast. That's all I need you guys to do. Subscribe and just continue to support. Thank you guys so much. As we end every episode, smile, help someone else smile, laugh, and help someone else laugh all day, every day. Thank you for tuning in to the What's Up Omaha podcast. Shout out to Omaha. Yeah.